Hey guys, it's me. So first of all, I think you'll notice by now I changed my username. ZombieHands wasn't very relaxing as someone pointed out, so I'm now Chatty Cat ASMR because most of what I do is talking and I love cats. So there's that. Also, my voice may be a little hoarse. I was just singing for the past 3 hours because I can. But now my voice is not happy, so if it's hoarse, I apologize, or a little deeper than normal. But when I was doing my CD collection, I came across a CD I forgot I had, which was a Shel Silverstein CD. It's him reading poems from Where the Sidewalk Ends, and on the CD he sings them. I thought I'd just read them to you. I don't do a lot of readings just because I stumble over my words, but I have most of these memorized from when I was a little kid. I actually used to listen to these to go to sleep, so I thought maybe I'd share it with you. So I'm going to start with the first poem. Invitation. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in. 18 flavors. 18 luscious, scrumptious flavors. Chocolate, lime, and cherry. Coffee, pumpkin, fudge, banana. Caramel cream and boysenberry. Rocky road and toasted almond. Butterscotch vanilla dip. Butter brickle, apple ripple, coconut, and mocha chip. Brandy peach and lemon custard, each scoop lovely, smooth and round. Tallest ice cream cone in town, lying there on the ground. Melinda May. Have you heard of tiny Melinda May, who ate a monstrous whale? She thought she could, she said she would, so she started writing the tale. And everyone said you're much too small, but that didn't bother Melinda at all. She took little bites, and she chewed very slow, just like a good girl should. And in 89 years, she ate the whale, because she said she would. Sick. I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay. I have the measles and the mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry, I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks, I've counted 16 chicken pox, and there's one more, that's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? My leg is cut, my eyes are blue, I might have instamatic flu. I cough and sneeze and gasp and choke, I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin, my belly button's caving in. My back is wrenched, my ankle sprained, my appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold, my toes are numb, I have a slither in my thumb. My neck is stiff, my spine is weak, I hardly whisper when I speak. My tongue is filling up my mouth, I think my hair is falling out. My elbow's bent, my spine ain't straight, my temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk, I cannot hear, there's a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail and my heart is... What? What's that you say? You say today's Saturday? Goodbye, I'm going out to play. Ecol Me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ecol Me, pickle me, tickle me too, went for a ride in a flying shoe. Hooray, what fun, it's time we flew, said Ecol Me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ecol was captain, and Pickle was crew, and Tickle served coffee and mulligan stew. As higher and higher and higher they flew, Ecol Me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ecol Me, pickle me, tickle me too, over the sun and up into the blue. Hold on, stay in, I hope we do, cried Ecol Me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ecol Me, pickle me, tickle me too, never returned to the world they knew, and nobody knows just what happened to dear Ecol Me, pickle me, tickle me too. Enter this deserted house. Enter this deserted house, but please walk softly as you do. Frogs dwell here, and crickets too. Ain't no ceiling, only blue. Jays dwell here, and sunbeams too. Floors are flowers, take a few. Ferns grow here, and daisies too. Whoosh, swoosh, to-reet, to-woo. Bats dwell here, and hoot owls too. Ha-ha, hee-hee, hoo-hoo. Gnomes dwell here, and goblins too. And my child, I thought you knew. I dwell here, and so do you. Jimmy Chet and his TV set. I'll tell you the story of Jimmy Chet, and you know what I tell you is true. He loved to watch his TV set, almost as much as you. He watched all day, he watched all night, till he grew pale and lean, from the early show to the late show and all the shows between. He watched till his eyes were frozen wide, and his bottom grew into his chair, and his chin turned into a tuning dial, and an antenna grew out of his hair, and his brains turned into TV tubes, and his face to a TV screen, and two knobs saying Vert and Horrors grew where his ears had been. And he grew a plug that looked like a tail, so he plugged in little Jim, and now instead of him watching TV, we all sit and watch him. For sale. One sister for sale, one sister for sale, one crying and spying young sister for sale. I'm really not kidding, so who'll start the bidding? Do I hear $1? A nickel? A penny? Oh, come on, isn't there any? One kid who will buy this old sister for sale, this crying and spying young sister for sale. Do I hear anything? Okay, I'll keep her till next Wednesday. Warning. Inside of everybody's nose there lives a sharp-toothed snail, so if you stick your finger in, he might bite off your nail. Stick it further up inside, and he might bite your ring off. Stick it all the way in, and he might bite the whole darn thing off. So that's why always use your handkerchief. You just take your handkerchief, wrap it around your finger, and jam it up there. The Yippee-Yuck. In the swamplands long ago, where the weeds and mud plugs grow, a Yippee-Yuck bit my toe. Exactly why, I do not know. I kicked and cried and hollered, oh! The Yippee-Yuck would not let go. I whispered to him soft and low. The Yippee-Yuck would not let go. I shouted, stop, deceased, and woe! The Yippee-Yuck would not let go. And that was 16 years ago. The Yippee-Yuck still won't let go. The snow may fall, the winds may blow. The Yippee-Yuck will not let go. The snow may melt, the grass may grow. The Yippee-Yuck will not let go. I drag him round each place I go. This Yippee-Yuck that won't let go. And now, my child, at last you know exactly why I walk so slow. As a side note, guys, this one's my favorite. It's called The Crocodile's Toothache. The crocodile went to the dentist, and he sat down in the chair. And the dentist said, now tell me, sir, why does it hurt and where? And the crocodile said, I'll tell you the truth, there's a terrible, terrible ache in my tooth. And he opened his jaws so wide, the dentist, he climbed right inside. And the dentist laughed, oh, isn't this fun, as he pulled the teeth out one by one. And the crocodile cried, you're hurting me so, please put down your pliers and let me go. But the dentist just laughed with a ho, 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 and said, I still have 12 to go. Oops, that's the wrong one, I confess, but what's one's crocodile tooth more or less? And then suddenly the jaws went snap, and the dentist was gone right off the map. And where he went no one could guess. To north, or south, or east, or west? He left no forwarding address, but what's one dentist more or less? Stone telling. How do we tell if a window is open? Just throw a stone at it. Does it make a noise? It doesn't? Well, it was open. Now let's try another. Crash. How that one wasn't? Let's try another. Ridiculous Rose. Her mama said, don't eat with your fingers. Okay, said Ridiculous Rose. So she ate with her toes. Boa Constrictor. Oh, I'm being eaten by a boa constrictor. A boa constrictor. A boa constrictor. I'm being eaten by a boa constrictor, and I don't like it one bit. Well, what do you know? It's nibbling my toe. Oh, gee, it's up to my knee. Oh, my, it's up to my thigh. Oh, fiddle, it's up to my middle. Oh, heck, it's up to my neck. Oh, dread, it's up to... Peanut butter sandwich. I'll sing you a poem of a silly young king who played with the world at the end of a string, but he only loved one single thing, and that was just a peanut butter sandwich. His scepter and his royal gowns and regal throne and golden crowns were all brown and sticky from the mounds and dripping from each peanut butter sandwich. His subjects were all silly fools, for he had passed a royal rule that all that they could learn in school was how to make a peanut butter sandwich. He would not eat his sovereign steak. He scorned his soup and his kingly cake. He told the courtly cook to bake an extra sticky peanut butter sandwich. And then one day he took a bite and started chewing with delight, but he found that his mouth was stuck quite tight from the last bite of peanut butter sandwich. His brother pulled, his sister pried, a wizard pushed, his mother cried, my boy's committed suicide from eating that last peanut butter sandwich. The dentist came and the royal doc. The royal plumber banged and knocked, but still those jaws stayed tightly locked. Oh, darn that sticky peanut butter sandwich. The carpenter, he tried with pliers. The telephone man, he tried with wires. The firemen, they tried with fire, but couldn't melt that peanut butter sandwich. With ropes and pulleys, drills and coil, with steam and lubricating oil, for 20 years of tears and toil, they fought that awful peanut butter sandwich. Then all his royal subjects came. They hooked his jaws with grappling chains and pulled both ways with might and main against that stubborn peanut butter sandwich. Each man and woman, girl and boy, put down their plows and pots and toys and pulled into crack. Oh joy, they broke right through that peanut butter sandwich. A puff of dust, a screech, a squeak. The king's jaws opened with a creak, and then in a voice so faint and weak, the first words that they heard him speak were, "How about a peanut butter sandwich?" Listen to the mustn'ts. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves. Then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. Huggle War. I will not play at tug-o' war. I'd rather play at Huggle War, where everyone hugs instead of tugs, where everyone giggles and rolls on the rug, where everyone kisses and everyone grins, and everyone cuddles and everyone wins. Smart. My dad gave me $1 bill, 'cause I'm his smartest son, and I swapped it with Mort for 2 shiny quarters, 'cause 2 is more than 1. And then I took the 2 quarters and traded them to Lou for 3 dimes. I guess he didn't know that 3 is more than 2. Just then, along came old Blind Bates, and just 'cause he can't see, he gave me 4 nickels for my 3 dimes, and 4 is more than 3. And then I took the nickels to Hiram Combs down at the seed feed store, and the fool gave me 5 pennies for them, and 5 is more than 4. And then I went and showed my dad, and he got red in the cheeks, and closed his eyes and shook his head, too proud of me to speak. Forgotten language. Once I spoke the language of the flowers. Once I understood each word a caterpillar said. Once I smiled in secret the gossip of starlings, and shared a conversation with the housefly on my bed. Once I heard and answered all the questions of the crickets, and joined the crying of each falling, dying flake of snow. Once I spoke the language of the flowers. How did it go? How did it go? The farmer and the queen. She's coming, the farmer said to the owl. Oh, what shall I do? Shall I bow when she comes? Shall I twiddle my thumbs? The owl asked, Who? Who? The queen, the royal queen, shall pass the farm today. Shall I salute? He asked the horse. The horse said, Nay, nay. Shall I give her a gift? He asked the wren. A memento for her to keep? An egg or a peach or an ear of corn? The wren said, Cheap, cheap. But should I curtsy or should I cheer? Oh, here comes her carriage now. What should I do? He asked the dog. The dog said, Bow, bow. And so he did, and so she passed. Oh, tra-la-la-la-la. She smiled, she did, he told the sheep. The sheep said, Bah. The one who stayed. You should have heard the old men cry. You should have heard the biddies, when the sad stranger raised his flute and piped away the kiddies. Katie, Tommy, Meg, and Bob followed skipping gaily. Red-haired Ruth and my brother Rob and little crippled Bailey. John and Nils and cousin Claire dancin', spinnin', turnin'. Cross the hills to God knows where, they never came returnin'. Cross the hills to God knows where, the piper prince did leadin'. Each child in Hamlin town but me, and I stayed home unheedin'. My papa said that I was blessed, for if that music found me, I'd be witchcast like all the rest. The town grows old around me. I cannot say I did not hear that sound so haunting hollow. I heard it clear. I was afraid to follow. No difference. Small as a peanut, big as a giant, we're all the same size when you turn off the light. Rich as a sultan or poor as a mite, We're all worth the same when we turn off the light. Red, black, or orange, yellow or white, we all look the same when you turn out the light. So maybe the way to make everything right is for God to just reach out and turn off the light. Wild boar. If you tell me the wild boar has 20 teeth, I'll say, why sure. Or say that he has 33, that number's quite all right with me. Or scream that he has 99, I'll never say that you were lying. For the number of teeth in a wild boar's mouth is a subject I'm glad I know nothing about. Thumbs. Oh, the thumbsucker's thumb may look wrinkled and wet, and withered white as snow, but the taste of a thumb is the sweetest taste yet, as only we thumbsuckers know. Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. She'd scour the pots and scrape the pans, candy the yam and spice the hams, and though her daddy would scream and shout, she simply would not take the garbage out. And so it piled up to the ceilings, coffee grounds, potato peelings, brown bananas, rotten peas, chunks of sour cottage cheese. It filled the can, it covered the floor, it cracked the window and blocked the door, with bacon rinds and chicken bones, dripping ends of ice cream cones, prune pits, peach pits, orange peels, gloppy glumps of cold oatmeal, pizza crusts and withered greens, soggy beans and tangerines, crusts of black burnt buttered toast, gristly bits of beefy roasts. The garbage rolled on down the hall, it raised the roof, it broke the wall. I mean greasy napkins, cookie crumbs, globs of gooey bubble gum, cellophane from green bologna, rubbery blubbery macaroni, peanut butter caked and dry, curdled milk on crusts of pie, moldy melons, dried up mustard, eggshells mixed with lemon custard, cold french fries and rancid meat, yellow lumps of cream of wheat. At last the garbage reached so high that finally it touched the sky, and all the neighbors moved away, and none of her friends would come to play. And finally Sarah Cynthia Stout said, "Okay, I'll take the garbage out." But then, of course, it was too late. The garbage reached across the state from New York to the Golden Gate, and there in the garbage she did hate. Poor Sarah met an awful fate that I cannot right now relate, because the hour's much too late. But children, remember Sarah Stout, and always take the garbage out. My hobby. When you spit from the 26th floor and it floats on the breeze to the ground, does it fall upon hats, or on white Persian cats, or on heads with a pitty-pat sound? I used to think life was a bore, but I don't feel that any more. So I count up the hits, and I smile and sit, and I spit from the 26th floor. Early bird. Oh, if you're a bird, be an early bird, and catch the worm for your breakfast plate. If you're a bird, be an early bird, but if you're a worm, sleep late. Me stew. I have nothing to put in my stew, you see, not a bone or a bean or a black-eyed pea, so I'll just climb in the pot to see if I can make a stew out of me. I'll put in some pepper and salt, and I'll sit in the bubbling water. I won't scream a bit. I'll sing while I simmer. I'll smile while I'm stewing. I'll taste myself often to see how I'm doing. I'll stir me around with a big wooden spoon, and serve myself up at 1:45. So bring out your stew bowls, you gobblers and snackers. Farewell, and I hope you enjoy me with crackers. Captain Hook. Captain Hook must remember not to scratch his toes. Captain Hook must watch out and never pick his nose. Captain Hook must be gentle when he shakes your hand. Captain Hook must be careful opening sardine cans, and playing tag, and pouring tea, and turning pages of his book. Lots of folks I'm glad I ain't, but mostly Captain Hook. With his mouth full of food. Milford Dupree, though he knew it was rude, talked with his mouth full of food. He never would burp or walk out in nude, but he talked with his mouth full of food. His mother said, "Milford, it's crude and it's lewd to talk with your mouth full of food." Why, even the milk cow who'd mooed as she chewed never mooed with her mouth full of food, and the cuckoo who had never ever cuckooed if he'd cooed with his mouth full of food. His dad said, "Get married or go get tattooed, but don't talk with your mouth full of food." And if it was a crime, you'd surely get sued if you talked with your mouth full of food. Why, just like an animal, you should be zooed as you talk with your mouth full of food, 'cause you know we're all put in a terrible mood when you talk with your mouth full of food. They pleaded and begged, he just giggled and chewed, he laughed with his mouth full of food. And they all advised him, he simply pooh-poohed, he pooh-poohed with his mouth full of food. So they sent him to the gluer to have his mouth glued, 'cause he talked with his mouth full of food. And now instead of good morning, he says, good mood. I won't talk with my mouth full of food. The Flying Festoon. Oh, I'm going to ride on the Flying Festoon. I'll jump on his back and I'll whistle a tune, and we'll fly on the outermost tip of the moon, the Flying Festoon and I. I'm taking a sandwich, a ball, and a prune, and we're leaving this evening precisely at noon, 'cause I'm going to fly with the Flying Festoon, just as soon as he learns how to fly. The Silver Fish. While fishing in the blue lagoon, I caught a lovely silver fish, and he spoke to me. My boy, quoth he, please set me free and I'll grant your wish, a kingdom of wisdom, a palace of gold, or all the goodies your fancies can hold. So I said, okay, and I threw him free, and he swam away and he laughed at me, whispering my foolish wish into a silent sea. Today I caught that fish again, that lovely silver prince of fishes, and once again he offered me, if I would only set him free, any number of wonderful wishes. He was delicious. The Generals. Said General Clay to General Gore, oh, must we fight this silly war? To kill and die is such a bore. I quite agree, said General Gore. Said General Gore to General Clay, we could go to the beach today, and have some ice cream on the way. A grand idea, said General Clay. Said General Clay to General Gore, we'll build sandcastles on the shore. Said General Gore, we'll splash and play. Let's leave right now, said General Clay. Said General Gore to General Clay, but what if the sea is closed today? Or what if the sand's been blown away? A dreadful thought, said General Clay. Said General Gore to General Clay, I always feared the ocean spray, and we may drown, it's true we may. It chills my blood, said General Clay. Said General Clay to General Gore, my bathing suit is slightly tore. We'd better go on with our war. I quite agree, said General Gore. Then General Clay charged General Gore, as bullets flew and cannons roared, and now, alas, there is no more of General Clay and General Gore. The Worst. When singing songs of scariness, of bloodiness and hairiness, I feel obligated at this moment to remind you of the most ferocious beast of all, 3,000 pounds and 9 feet tall, the glurpy slurpy Scragagal, who's standing right behind you. Dreadful. Someone ate the baby, it's rather sad to say. Someone ate the baby, so she won't be out to play. We'll never hear her whiny cry, or have to feel if she is dry. We'll never hear her asking why. Someone ate the baby. Someone ate the baby, it is absolutely clear. Someone ate the baby, 'cause the baby isn't here. We'll give away her toys and clothes, we'll never have to wipe her nose. Dad said that's the way it goes. Someone ate the baby. Someone ate the baby, what a frightful thing to eat. Someone ate the baby, though she wasn't very sweet. It was a heartless thing to do, the policemen haven't got a clue. They simply can't imagine who would go and eat the baby. My beard. My beard grows to my toes, I never wear no clothes. I wraps my hair around my bear, and down the road I goes. La la da 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 dum, ba 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 bum. The Little Blue Engine. The little blue engine looked up at the hill. His light was weak, his whistle was shrill. He was tired and small, and the hill was tall, and his face blushed red as he softly said, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. So he started up with a chug and a strain, and he puffed and pulled with a might and main, and slowly he climbed a foot at a time, and his engine coughed and whispered soft, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. With a squeak and a creak and a toot and a sigh, with an extra hope and an extra try, he would not stop, and now he neared the top, and strong and proud he cried out loud, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. He was almost there when crash, smash, bash, he slid down and smashed into engine hash, on the rocks below, which goes to show, if the track is tough and the hill is rough, thinking you can just ain't enough. If I had a Brontosaurus. If I had a Brontosaurus, I would name him Horace or Morris. But if suddenly one day he had a lot of Brontosauri, I would change his name to Lori. 1 inch tall. If you were only 1 inch tall, you'd ride a worm to school. The teardrop of a crying ant would be a swimming pool. A crumb of cake would be a feast, and last you 7 days at least. A flea would be a frightening beast, if you were 1 inch tall. If you were only 1 inch tall, you'd walk beneath the door, and it would take about a month to get to the store. A bit of fluff would be your bed. You'd swing upon a spider's thread, and wear a thimble on your head if you were 1 inch tall. You'd sit across the kitchen sink upon a stick of gum. You couldn't hug your mama, you'd just have to hug her thumb. You'd run from people's feet in fright. To move a pen would take it all night. This poem took 14 years to write, 'cause I'm only 1 inch tall. Long-haired boy. There was a boy in our town with long hair. I mean really long hair. So everybody pointed at him and laughed at him. It made fun of him and stared. And when he walked down the street, people would roar and stick out their tongues and make funny faces and run and slam the doors and shout at him from the window until he couldn't stand it any more. So he sat down and cried, trying to cover his hair, so no one would look, and he sobbed and sighed, till his whole body shook, and pretty soon his hair shook too, and it flapped, and he lifted, and he flew. Rain. I opened my eyes and looked up at the rain, and it dripped in my head and poured into my brain. So pardon the wild, crazy thing I just said. I just ain't the same, since there's rain in my head. I walk kinda careful, I turn around slow. I can't run or jump, 'cause I might overflow. And all I hear as I lie in my bed is the slishy slosh of the rain in my head. True story. This morning I jumped on my horse and went out for a ride, and some wild Indians chased me, and they shot me in the side. So I crawled into a wildcat's den to find a place to hide, but some bandits found me sleeping there, and soon they had me tied to a post and built a fire. Under me, I almost cried, till a mermaid came and cut me loose and begged to be my bride. So I said I'd come back Wednesday, but I must admit I lied, 'cause I ran into a jungle swamp, but I forgot my guide, and I stepped into some quicksand, and no matter how I tried, I couldn't get out until I met a water snake named Clyde, who pulled me into some cannibals who planned to have me fried. But an eagle came and swooped me up, and through the air we flied. But he dropped me into a chocolate lake that 1,000 miles wide, and you'll never guess what I did then. I died. Hungry Mungry. Hungry Mungry sat at supper, took his knife and spoon and fork, ate a bowl of mushroom soup, ate a slice of roasted pork, ate a dozen stewed tomatoes, 27 deviled eggs, 15 shrimps, 9 baked potatoes, 32 fried chicken legs, a shank of lamb, a boiled ham, 2 bowls of grits, some black-eyed peas, 4 chocolate shakes, 8 angel cakes, 9 custard pies with Munster cheese, 10 pots of tea, and after he had eaten all that he was able, he poured some broth on the tablecloth and ate the kitchen table. His parents said, "Oh, Hungry Mungry, stop these silly jokes." Mungry opened out his mouth and gulp, he ate his folks. And then he went and ate his house and chewed the bricks and wood. And then he ate up all the people in the neighborhood. Up came 20 angry policemen shouting, "Stop and cease." Mungry opened up his mouth and gulp, he ate the police. Soldiers came with tanks and guns, said Mungry, "They can't harm me." He just smiled and licked his chops and ate the U.S. Army. The president set all his bombers. Mungry still was calm. He put his head back, gulped the planes, and gobbled up the bomb. He ate the town, he ate the city, 8 and 8 and 8. And then he said, "I think I'll eat the whole United States." And so he ate Chicago first and munched the water tower. And then he chewed on Pittsburgh, but he found it rather sour. He ate New York and Tennessee and all of Boston town. And then he drank the Mississippi just to wash it down. And once he'd eaten every state, each puppy, boy, and girl. He wiped his mouth upon his sleeve and went to eat the world. He ate the Egypt pyramids and every church in Rome, and all the grass in Africa and all the ice in Nome. He ate each hill in green Brazil, and then to make things worse, he decided for dessert he would eat the universe. He started with the moon and stars, and soon as he was done, he gobbled up the clouds and sipped the wind and chomped the sun. And sitting there in the dark, cold air, he started to nibble his feet until there was nothing left to eat. Standing on my elbow with my finger in my ear, biting on a dandelion and humming kind of queer, while I watched a yellow caterpillar climbing up my wrist, I leaned on a tree and I said to me, "Why am I doing this?" If the world was crazy. If the world was crazy, you know what I'd eat? A big slice of soup and a whole quart of meat. A lemonade sandwich, and then I might try some roasted ice cream or a bicycle pie. A nice notebook salad or some underwear roast. an omelet of hats, and some crispy cardboard toast, the thick malted milk made from pencils and daisies, and that's what I'd eat if the world was crazy. If the world was crazy, you know what I'd wear? A chocolate suit and a tie eclair, some marshmallow earmuffs, some licorice shoes, and I'd read a paper of peppermint news. I'd call the boy Susie, and I'd call the girls Harry. I'd talk through my ears, and I always would carry a paper umbrella for when it grew hazy, to keep in the rain if the world was crazy. If the world was crazy, you know what I'd do? I'd walk on the ocean and swim in my shoe. I'd fly through the ground and I'd skip down the air. I'd run down the bathtub and bathe on the stair. When I'd meet someone, I'd say, "Goodbye, Joe." And when I was leaving, then I'd say, "Hello." And the greatest of men would be silly and lazy, so I would be king if the world was crazy. Hector the Collector. Hector the Collector, he collected bits of string, he collected dolls with broken heads, and collected rusty bells that wouldn't ring, and pieces out of picture puzzles, and bent-up nails and ice cream sticks, and twists of wires and worn-out tires, and paper bags and broken bricks, and old chip vases and half shoelaces, and Gatling guns that wouldn't shoot. He had a couple leaky boats that wouldn't float, and stopped-up horns that wouldn't toot, and butter knives that had no handles, copper keys that fit no locks, rings and things that were too small for fingers, and dried-up leaves and holey socks, and worn-out belts that had no buckles, electric trains that had no tracks, airplane models and broken bottles, three-legged chairs and cups with cracks. Hector the Collector, he loved these things with all his soul, loved them more than shining diamonds, loved them more than glistening gold. And Hector, he called all the people, "Come and share my treasure trunk," and all the silly, sightless people looked at it and called it junk. Spaghetti. Spaghetti, spaghetti all over the place, up to my elbows, up to my face, over the carpet, under the chairs, into the hammock, wound round the stairs, filling the bathtub, covering the desk, making the sofa a mad mushy mess. The party is ruined. I'm terribly worried. The guests have all left, unless they were buried. I told them, "Bring presents." I said, "Throw confetti." I guess they heard me wrong. They all threw spaghetti. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I might put links to where you can find the actual CD or the book. Not sure if I will. But thank you guys for watching, or listening rather, and hope to make more videos for you guys soon. Bye.